two boardrooms. One is in Chennai, India. The other is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In the Chennai boardroom, the CEO rolls up on a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, parks it out front, and walks in with helmet, hair, and dusty boots. In Milwaukee, the CEO lands on a private jet from his home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He has never worked a single day in the motorcycle industry. These two men ran motorcycle companies at the same time, but only one of them built the entire company around a rider's daily experience. And that difference, more than anything else, helps explain why one company has massively outgrown the other. This is the story of Siddhartha Lal and Jochin Zeitz, and it might be one of the clearest business lessons the motorcycle industry has produced in decades. Let's start in the year 2000 in India. Royal Enfield is dying. The brand has been around since 1901, but by the turn of the millennium, it is hemorrhaging money, selling only a few thousand motorcycles a year, and the parent company, Eicher Motors, is seriously considering shutting it down entirely. The chairman at the time, S. Sandelia, later described Royal Enfield as being slated for closure. Into this mess walks a 26-year-old kid named Siddhartha Lal. He is the son of Vikram Lal, the industrialist who built Eicher into a tractor and truck empire and who acquired Royal Enfield India back in 1994. Sid went to the Doon School, studied economics at St. Stephen's College in Delhi, then earned a master's in automotive engineering at the University of Leeds in England. His father sent him on a motorcycle tour across Europe to meet Royal Enfield's continental importers, a trip that basically functioned as an informal test of whether he should take on the brand. When asked years later why he took on a failing motorcycle brand at 26, Lal gave a refreshingly honest answer. He said that at age 26 it seemed a fun thing to do, and that he could eat, sleep, ride, and talk motorcycles. And that attitude, that genuine obsession with actually riding, became the foundation of everything Royal Enfield did next. One of the first things Lal did was push Royal Enfield toward a culture where senior people were encouraged to ride the company's own motorcycles, including on the daily commute. Not drive a company car, ride. Indian business publications have consistently reported that Lal pushed office staff and executives to ditch their cars and commute on the company's bikes. The logic was brutally simple. If you ride your own product every single day, you feel every vibration, every uncomfortable seat height, every engine issue that your customers feel. You don't need a focus group to tell you the seat is too high. Your back already knows. Lal himself lived this rule harder than anyone. He rode a red Royal Enfield Machismo to his own wedding. He personally tested Himalayan prototypes at the Bruntingthorpe Airfield in England during the summer of 2014. He rode pre-production Himalayans 500 miles from Goa to Bangalore on back roads with a small team in 2015. He has been riding through the Himalayas for over 20 years. In November 2025, foreign motorcycle YouTubers randomly bumped into him on a road in Goa. He was riding a Himalayan 450 by himself, introduced himself as Sid, and casually discussed the differences between the Bear 650 and the Himalayan in traffic. This is the CEO of a company worth over $20 billion, on a motorcycle, in traffic, talking to strangers about his product like a man who simply loves bikes. Now here is where it gets interesting, because that riding obsession did not just make for good PR, it shaped actual engineering decisions that you can trace directly back to the saddle. Take the original Himalayan 411, launched in 2016. This was Lal's personal passion project. He commissioned it after years of riding through the Himalayas and getting frustrated that no motorcycle existed specifically for those conditions. The bike featured a seat height of 800 millimeters, deliberately low for riders navigating rocky mountain passes. It had over 200 millimeters of ground clearance. It had a slim 15-liter fuel tank with knee recesses so smaller riders could grip it comfortably. It even had integrated jerry can mounts on the tank, because Lal and his team knew from experience that fuel stations disappear at 15,000 feet. Lal wrote on Royal Enfield's official development blog, "Our single biggest insight in all these years of riding has been that the best motorcycle for the Himalayas is not one that tries to dominate its landscape, but one that is able to go with its flow." That is not a marketing line. That is a sentence written by a man who has actually been cold, tired, and stuck on a mountain pass and thought, this bike needs to be different. When the Himalayan ran into serious quality criticism after launch, Royal Enfield quietly halted sales for about 6 months in 2017 to address the problems rather than pretend nothing was wrong. The bike came back with fuel injection and revised internals. That painful lesson shaped how Royal Enfield launched the Interceptor 650 in 2018. The development team's attitude was that nobody would remember a short delay, but they would remember a half-finished motorcycle. The Interceptor 650 launched at $5,799 in the United States. That price undercut every European retro competitor by thousands of dollars. By mid-2020, it had become the best-selling motorcycle in the United Kingdom for multiple months running, topping registration charts ahead of bikes costing twice as much. That pricing decision was made by people who understood their actual customer, because they were their actual customer. The next generation Himalayan 450, launched in 2023, was tested from sea level at Chennai all the way up to 19,024 feet at Umling La, one of the highest motorable passes on Earth. It crossed 38,000 global units in fiscal year 2026 and became the adventure category leader in both India and Brazil. Meanwhile, the classic 350 was completely redesigned in 2021 on a new platform. The real challenge was not just to modernize the bike, but to do it without losing the long stroke character that Royal Enfield riders loved. Keep that characteristic single-cylinder firing pulse, but reduce vibration enough for long rides. That is a decision only riders would make. A spreadsheet would tell you to just make it smoother. A rider would tell you the thump is the whole point. Now let's fly to Milwaukee. While Siddhartha Lal was riding prototypes through mountain passes, Harley-Davidson was about to hand its keys to a man who made sneakers. Jochen Zeitz took over Harley-Davidson in 2020, first as acting chief executive in February, then permanently in May. His background was sportswear and brand turnarounds. He ran Puma for 2 decades, starting as chief executive at age 30. He grew Puma's share price roughly 4,000%. He co-founded Richard Branson's B Team. He built a 50,000-acre wildlife conservancy in Kenya. He created the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art Africa in Cape Town. An impressive resume, 0 motorcycle industry experience. Does Zeitz ride? The Wall Street Journal reported that he had ridden Harleys for decades, but that claim does not appear in any biography, Puma-era interview, or public profile from before he joined Harley's board in 2007. His reputation came from sportswear, branding, and turnaround management, not from building or engineering motorcycles. Inside Harley, many never saw him as a product obsessive in the way rider LED leaders are. After taking the job, he told a magazine that he owned several Harleys, including an electric bike, a touring bike, a Pan America, 2 vintage sidecars, and 2 Easy Rider replicas. Compare that with Lal testing prototypes at altitude in the Himalayas and riding to his own wedding on a machismo. And the product decisions under his leadership tell that story clearly. Start with Livewire, Harley's electric motorcycle. It launched with a sticker price of $29,799. For context, a Zero SR at the time cost $16,495. A dealer told Reuters in October 2019, interest is very high, but once you get to pricing, interest is thrown out of the window. Zeitz spun Livewire off as a separate public company through a SPAC merger valued at $1.8 billion. The SPAC-era growth story looked wildly optimistic compared with what actually followed. Livewire sold 597 electric motorcycles in 2022, then 660 in 2023, then 612 in 2024, then 653 in 2025. 4 years of sales that would not fill a mid-size parking garage. At one point, Livewire's Stay CYC Kids balance bike business was generating more revenue than the adult electric motorcycles. The stock collapsed from its early highs, and by early 2026 was trading at a fraction of where the SPAC story had implied it should be. Then there was the Bronx 975 Street Fighter. Unveiled at EICMA in 2019 with a Revolution Max engine and 115 horsepower, riders were excited. Under Zeitz, Harley shelved it in August 2020 before it ever reached production. As of April 2026, the Bronx still does not exist. And then there was the pricing strategy, which increasingly made Harley look like a brand built for older, wealthier riders first, and everyone else never. By 2025, a Softail Street Bob cost $15,999. A Sportster S ran $16,499. The CVO Street Glide 3 Limited Trike cost $54,999. Meanwhile, Honda's entry-level models started at $4,849, and Royal Enfield's Interceptor 650 was sitting right there at well under $7,000. When asked about attracting younger riders, Zeitz told analysts on the fourth quarter 2023 earnings call that Harley expects customers to age into our product. Read that sentence again. The CEO of a motorcycle company told Wall Street his growth strategy was to wait for people to get old enough to afford his bikes. The riders noticed. The shareholders noticed too. At Harley's May 2025 annual meeting, nearly 48% of shareholders voted to withhold support from Zeitz, an unusually strong rebuke even though it fell short of forcing him out. The number 2 shareholder, H Partners, publicly demanded his immediate resignation. When Zeitz announced his retirement in April 2025, Jeff Binkert, the owner of House of Harley-Davidson in Milwaukee, told Fox 6 that if you wanted to know how many Harley dealers were happy about a leadership change, the number was all of them. His replacement was Artie Starrs, former chief executive officer of Pizza Hut and then chief executive officer of Topgolf. He had no motorcycle industry experience. According to Maverick Harley-Davidson, Starrs completed Harley's own riding academy and bought his first Harley in mid-2025, just weeks before being announced as chief executive officer. He arrived with Harley still in cost-cutting mode. So where do these two companies stand right now? Royal Enfield sold over 1.2 million motorcycles in fiscal year 2026. Harley sold about 132,500 motorcycles at retail worldwide in 2025, down 12% from the year before. Eicher Motors, Royal Enfield's parent company, has a market cap of around $21 billion. Harley-Davidson sits at roughly $2.5 billion. Royal Enfield now sells roughly 9 times more motorcycles per year than Harley-Davidson. The company that was being considered for closure in 2000 is now worth about 8 times more than the one that was an American icon. And while many factors drive that gap, including price points, geography, and market timing, one of the clearest places where the difference shows up is in rider LED product intuition. In business, there is an old concept called eating your own dog food. It means using the products you sell. Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, was a University of Oregon middle-distance runner who served as the guinea pig for every shoe prototype his coach Bill Bowerman designed. Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia, has been climbing, surfing, and fly fishing in his own gear since 1957. Brian Chesky, the chief executive officer of Airbnb, announced in 2022 that he would live full-time in Airbnbs, and that experience directly produced the Airbnb Rooms update in 2023. The opposite is equally instructive. When Ron Johnson left Apple to become chief executive officer of JCPenney in 2011, he never relocated from California to the company's headquarters in Texas. He eliminated coupons and told the press that customers needed to be weaned off discounts. Same-store sales dropped 32% in one quarter. He was fired in April 2013 after 17 months. He never understood his customer because he never was his customer. Siddhartha Lal understood this instinctively. He was not running a motorcycle company from a conference room. He was running it from a motorcycle seat. Every vibration, every fuel stop gap, every seat height complaint reached the top of the company in real time because it reached the top of the company through his own body. When the top executive is physically and culturally distant from the daily rider experience, when they describe customers as needing to age into a $25,000 cruiser, the feedback loop stretches, warps, and eventually breaks. Harley's sales numbers over the last decade are the shape of that broken loop. The question every motorcycle company should be asking is not just what do riders want, it is how close are our leaders to the actual lived experience of the product. Because if you want to understand what your customers feel, the answer has never been complicated. Put yourself where they sit. Everything else is just branding. If this story blew your mind, hit subscribe. I cover the business side of motorcycles every week, the stories the mainstream channels are not telling you. Drop a comment and tell me, would you trust a motorcycle chief executive officer who does not ride? I already know the answer. See you in the next one.